Okay, so you guys know this month we are working on how we relate with one another and how we might use different approaches that would be more in alignment with the Christ light that we know we are inside and that we seek to express outwardly. I got that. Okay, so we've been talking about empathy, the fabric that weaves us together without asking us to change. Patrick talked about patience last week, and this is when we get in that space where we realize that we are not always going to get our personal way in our personal timing. And so we get to learn to be patient with ourselves and the world around us. And since normally the Sunday service creates the platform of your experience of the following week, I know every one of us had an opportunity to remember patience. And I hope you brought to mind some of those ideas of breathing through and being calm. Did you? Okay, good. All right. Today we're talking about kindness. And these are simple terms, you know, y'all. These are like simple things that we grow up with these ideas, but I want to refresh them. I want us to look at them a little bit differently. So kindness is acting in an encouraging manner and with a generous spirit. Can you accept that? In an encouraging manner and with a generous spirit. So, I will start with a story. This past Saturday was healing night. And you know, I work the front out and welcome our guests. And we happen to have a little fellow who is about to turn 2. And so he's learning to speak and walk and run around and make noises. He speaks very well, actually. And Sorelli was helping me out front. But in this moment, Sorelli was not around. And so little Wesley, he shall be named, little Wesley came to me and said, I want a drink. And I said in my mind, okay. So in my mind, Cindy is thinking, okay, what cup can I give him that will not be breakable and that he can handle? So I found these teeny little paper cups, you know, that we use for communion. I poured water in and I handed it to him. I said, okay, honey, be careful. Okay, be careful. Okay. You know, like, what is he going to do with the paper cup? Seriously. But in my mind, I'm like trying to protect this child. And so he'd get his little drink, and put the cup down. A little bit later, he came back, and Sorelli was in the kitchen at the time, and he said, again, I need a drink. And so Sorelli's there. And you all may not know this, before she became an actress, she taught kindergarten. And Sorelli's there, and Sorelli goes, oh, okay, where's your cup? Like, it's on you, dude. Where's your cup? And so they both look, and there's the cup. So she gets the cup, and she goes, she's pouring it. She goes, I bet you can do this. I bet you can do this. She hands him the little cup and says, okay, there you go, you can do this. And he spilled a little bit. She goes, oh, that's on me. I filled it up too much. You got it. You can do it. And I was so caught off guard by her approach to this child. She was not trying to protect him. She wasn't afraid of him making a mistake. She was actually acting as if he could do it. Her words were success-oriented versus protection-oriented. You got this. So 20s and 30s came around Friday night, and I'm still being with this because I'm in awe of Sorelli's handling of children. So I said, I need to see this again. So it's 20s and 30s, we have no real children. So I called upon Jason Giuliano, another actor of our crew. And I said, Jason, would you just act like you're 5 years old and let Sorelli work with you so I can see what happens? And of course, Jason takes it to heart. So Jason starts going, hey, what do? I said, just go get a coat. Go get a coat. So he runs over. Now he's 5. He runs over, he grabs his coat, and he can't get it on. He's twirling. And Sorelli's so calm. She goes, oh, you're going to get your coat on, are you? And he's twirling it around, and then he throws it down, and he tries to put his foot in. She goes, oh, so you think that way's going to work? Oh, you silly. And so he's trying to do this, and she's so calm, and she never says, you're doing it wrong. What are you thinking? Let me help you. She never says any of that. She looks at him and she goes, oh, your coat's blue. And like any other little child, Jason stood up, looked her straight in the eye and said, "Blue's my favorite color." Never once a guiding, never once a criticizing. I obviously cannot help him with what he's doing, so let me just talk to him about his coat. Do you see? I'm obviously not going to succeed in this round. So let me just talk about what I can talk about. Your coat's blue. It's a pretty coat. It brought home to me, particularly, how in my kindness venue, I am either protecting or teaching. I'm doing this for your benefit. Oh, you know I love you. Let me share with you something that you just might need to know. or no, honey. Yeah, if that had been a 5-year-old, if I had been her playing with Jason, I would have said, no, what are you doing? No, you're going to rip your coat. No, do you see? La. When kindness is designed for the person to succeed, it is kindness. When kindness is preparation for failure, what does it become? It becomes a teaching. But does it have the generosity of spirit? Does it have that support? You see? Can you feel the difference in the energy? Can you feel how I imagine you're more like me than Sorelli? I imagine you're more like me. And just to change it just a little bit, we are actually generously giving to these people in our world, be them 5-year-old or 20 or 30 or 100, we are giving to them generously, and then we are also honoring whatever choice they're making. If that child is choosing to try a shirt on with the foot, okay, see if that works for you. You know, we're allowing them to have the experience. Now, do you think Wesley felt different when I gave him water and when Sorelli gave him water? He did. He's probably going, oh God, Cindy gave me water. okay, I got this. You know? And when Sorelli gave him water, he was probably like, cool, man. I got this. You know? It's a completely different response that you get. And that is the kindness that I would like us to start thinking about. A kindness that expects success, a kindness that encourages, but does not have to teach. Okay, y'all breathe that in. All right. We start with our words. And then we need to move on into the kind acts, that generosity of spirit, where we actually are taking action with our energies. Think of times that you have shared with absolutely zero backup agenda. Can you even think of times when you've had zero backup agenda? When you go through the Bible and you look at Jesus, what we have mostly inherited is his teachings. And Jesus sometimes is quite direct with people. And sometimes he is corrective with people because he's teaching. And oftentimes it's a strong way. Sometimes it's very gentle and kind. When he heals, there's always love. There is always love. And after the healing, after the directness, after the healing, there's always this gentleness. Go and sin no more. Go and don't do what you did. But when I was trying to bring up some of the examples of Jesus' kindness, there was one that I've been in awe of since I read it. This is, he's 24 years old. So it's in his early years. He hasn't started his ministry in his own country yet. He's 24 years old and he's traveling through Persia. And you know the 3 wise men that came to his birth? They know, it says, they know as wise men know that he was coming. They knew he was on his way to Persepolis. And so this is what it says. When they realized he was coming, they girt themselves and went to meet him on the way. And when they met, a light much brighter than the light of day, surrounded them. And men who saw the 4 standing in the way declared they were transfigured, seeming more like gods than men. The 4 of them, the 3 wise men and Jesus. Now Hor and Lun, 2 of the wise men, were aged men, and Jesus placed them on his beast to ride into Persepolis, and he and Myrrh led the way. These are powerful men who walked to meet him. They were capable of walking. They were powerful men who shone the light with him. Yet he is 24. And he puts two of them, the two oldest ones, on his beast. When I first read that, I went, did they not know that was Jesus? Wait, that was Jesus. You know, like I got Jesus way up there. Jesus should have been riding the donkey, or whatever, camel or horse. But no, he put them on. No agenda. They have bright light. They're empowered. They're wise. No agenda. And he gave them the honor of riding in. Don't you think they felt way cool when they were riding in? Because they were honored by the Christ. They were honored by this young man. When we do things from our heart, this is a pictorial of Jesus actually giving from his heart. When we give from our heart, in kindness, in generosity, if it's an act or if it's a donation or whatever it might be, we are actually extremely power-filled in that moment. Y'all follow me? It can be so simple. It doesn't have to be grand. I remember when Texas was flooded. Remember Houston last year? And of course we donated to the causes. But there's a little church right around the way that was collecting water, right on 140. And I saw the sign. I thought, oh, I should take them some water. And I never did because I never go to the grocery store. So we were driving by, and I always carry a little cash of my own money. You know, when we divvy up the salary, there's a little bit of money that's my money and his money, just for the pocket money. They call it walking around money in Oklahoma, a little walking around money. So I had my money, and we were driving by the church, and they were loading up a trailer for with water. They had the trailer there, and they were loading it up. I said, Patrick, stop, pull over. And he goes, why? We already gave. I said, I know we gave. Pull over. No, we gave. Patrick, pull over. So we pulled in, and in my little purse I had $20. And that's what I had. So I walked over to the guy, and I said, it's not much, but I want you to take this. I haven't had time to get you any water. And he goes, oh, thank you, that's awesome. He was blessed. And I said, use it for what you need. I don't care if you buy lunch with it. I don't care if it goes gas in your car. I don't care what you use it for. You are doing something I cannot. You are going a place I can't go. And I am from Texas. I was born in Houston. So it had a little special thing for me as well, historically. It meant more to me to give that $20 to that man's hand than it did to give the hundreds of dollars that we donated during the year to the crises that occurred. Because it was for me. It was special to me. And don't you think that empowered them to receive the love that came with it? And I don't care what you do with it. You know? The love that came with it. When we give from our hearts in kindness, when we are supporting kindness, encouraging, supporting generosity, people feel that. They feel that love. In the scriptures, it talks also about another chapter of Jesus specifically just being kind. He is, let's say, off duty. He's got his disciples. They're working the country, but he's kind of off duty. And he comes upon a group of people who are crying. A little boy has just fallen into a pool and drowned. And he just walks over and calls his soul back, and his soul is back, and then he moves on. Just to help. Just to help. And then he saw a wounded dog. It would not move. It lay beside the way and groaned in pain. And he took it in his arms and took it to the home where he lived. And he poured the healing oil into the wounds. He cared for it as though it were a child till it was strong and well. Do you think he kept it? No. He saw a little boy who had no home, and he was hungry. He called for bread, and the people turned away. Was he with his people? Was he with the throngs that loved to hear what he had to say? Would they have turned away if he called for bread? No, he was out in the world. He was out in the world, found a little hungry boy, and said, guys, can we help this child? Can we help this child? And everybody said, not mine to do. That's not mine to do. So what did Jesus do with him? He took the child, gave him bread, wrapped him in his own warm coat, and found him a home. And Jesus says, whoever to his followers when they asked what happened. Whoever is not kind to every form of life, to man, to beast, bird, creeping thing, cannot expect the blessings of the Holy One. For as we give, so God will give to us. And the thing I wanted to bring up with these acts is that these were incidents, all three, when someone was brought to his path. He did not go out and seek them. He did not go look for a stray dog. The dog was brought to his path. He did what he could in kind generosity to support the dog, but did he keep the dog? No. The child was brought to his path. He did what he could in kindness and generosity. Did he keep the child? No. No. Kindness is not connecting and observing or judging the choice of anybody's life. Here's the child is fed and warm and now given a home. Now the child can choose what else it needs to experience. The dog will find a home. Sometimes are you afraid of extending that kindness because you think you're going to get too involved? Too involved. So kindness is about not caring what happens after the giving occurs. It is about the giving. It's about the freeing, the freely being you. Freely being you. All right. We are often challenged in our world because we want to give, don't we? We want to be kind with our words. We want to be kind with our energy and kind with our attachments. And we know metaphysically that as you give, so you shall receive. But as you give, you are investing energy. I'm going to give to you of my love and light, and then you choose what you want to do. But I'm not responsible for what you choose. Do you understand? Take a breath. Kindness, support, encouragement, uplifting. Support, generosity, uplifting. How often do we let ourselves cross that line? Spirit has had me on a lesson for a long time of learning to be free. Just be free in my own little bitty way, in my own little way. So several years ago, I had this idea. It was just a crazy idea. And I don't want to tell all my stories, but that's the only ones I know. You guys don't come and tell me your good stories, you tell me all your other stories. So I had this crazy idea. I have no grandchildren. So, yet. But I really get off easy Christmas time. And so I just had this idea one time. I pulled $100 of my walking around money, and I thought, I just want to share this with somebody. And so that's kind of become my tradition. And so around Christmas time this year, I had my little 100 walking around money, and I said, God, whoever needs this money, you just show me, and I'll hand it to them. And so it was Christmas Eve, and I hadn't been shown anybody. So I'm sitting in the office, Bonnie's desk, and going, okay, God, I should just give it to somebody that I know needs it. And Spirit said very clearly, is that really what you are supposed to do? But I don't want to remember I'm walking around with it. Oh, really? Okay. That was it from Spirit. Because you want to be done with your task, right? So I didn't worry about it anymore and totally forgot about it, actually. So I don't know how long ago, a week or so ago, I was at my grocery store in the middle of the day. I was going to bake something for therapy. And this is probably the first time I've been to the grocery store since Christmas. And so I'm in the grocery store, and I'm not that shining. It's for therapy. That means I need to bring myself up. So, I'm looking with my sweatshirt on, and I'm just being a human. And I'm shopping, and I'm getting what I need to bake this zucchini bread. And I'm in an aisle, and I turn, and there's a woman at the end of the aisle. I couldn't see how old she was. And Spirit said, that's her. And I'm like, what? What do you mean that's her? What? That's her. Let me double check. Do you mean, am I supposed to give her $100? And they went, yep. Okay, here we go, deep breath. So I'm not shining the light. You hear me? I'm like, oh, okay. So I pull up behind her cart, next aisle over, and I just say, excuse me, please don't think I'm crazy. She turned and looked at me with the absolute kindest face I've ever seen. And she was maybe in her early 30s. And she had 2 children in her car. And she looked at me, oh no, like, oh, I would never think you're crazy. Oh, God. And I said, well, listen, I do something for my soul. And I had the $100 in my hand. I said, this is for me. I don't do it for any other reason. But I have no grandchildren, and I just want to every now and then support somebody. Would this be, and God told me you would take it. God told me to give it to you. Would this be helpful? And she said, oh, it's been such a bad day. Oh, it would be helpful in so many ways. You have no idea. And she hugged me. And then she looked at me and she said, he always knows. I said, he always knows. And we had our little exchange, and then I just, laughed. Because you don't want people to think you want something from them. But it was the first time I actually said, instead of going, hey, how are you, la la la, I was like, okay, this is for my soul, and I have to do it, and God told me to. So don't be mad at me. So, in those moments, when I can connect without an agenda, when I can give as God guides me to give, of my walking around money, I didn't have to tell Patrick about it. I didn't tell Patrick about it. I don't have to tell anybody about it. It's nobody's money but mine. I can do what I want with it. In those moments when I can actually feel kindness, and I don't care what that girl spends it on, it doesn't matter to me. It was an appointment that I kept for the universe to touch her heart. When we can speak in kindness and act in kindness, how much more love moves through us, and how much more love moves to us. How much more love moves to us. When we raise children, think about how much corrective energy we give them. Do you know how to have a good relationship with an adult child? Stop correcting them. Let them choose. Let them choose. Correct them while they're in your house. The minute they're on their own, they're on their own. Let them choose. Love them. Do you know how to have a healthy relationship with a spouse? Stop being kind and correcting them. Be kind and uplift them. Be kind and say, well, that's an interesting choice. We'll see what happens with that. That's for you to experience, I guess. And lift up. Kindness is one of the most powerful keys to you living heaven on earth. Because as you encourage, you will be encouraged. As you are generous, people will be generous with you. And that is the energy of God consciousness. Your Father God treats you as you treat others. That's not by let me see what you've done. It's by right of consciousness. You can only receive that which you give by right of consciousness, by your own vibration. You want to receive more, you give more. You want to be supported, you support. You know these basic metaphysical laws. If we can think of kindness as being supported, it will really change our lives. So I want to go back to the Sorelli style of encouragement. Speaking for success, not preventing failure. Let them fail. Let people fail. It's great. It's wonderful. When you're teaching a child how to ride a bike, do you tell them there's a way not to fall? No, because they're going to fall. You say, when you fall, laugh, hoop it up, put your foot out, whatever. But you're going to fall, and it'll be fun. Encouragement, light, peace. Speaking to success instead of preventing or protecting. Speaking to success. Now, would you like to speak to success in your own heart right now?
Yeah.
Do you think you need to talk to yourself a little differently? All right, let's go then. Put your feet on the floor. Father, Mother God, we ask that all that is now done be for the highest blessing of all that are here. And I would invite you just to feel that energy of God love moving through your heart now. And just let your focus feel the love going deeper and deeper within. See your beautiful column of light that separates you from everyone in the room. And as you move into a space in your own heart center, in your own heart chakra, in that vibration, you may feel energy, you may see a beautiful garden. Wherever you go is fine. I want you to ask, is there a statement of kindness that I could say to myself that I need to hear? And I want you to become aware of a challenge or something that you're trying to grow through. And I want you to just create a kind statement for yourself now. Say okay when you got it.
Okay.
All right. Feel the statement deep in your heart. And just let the situation go. Feel the statement in your heart, like an affirmation. And I want you to call for someone that you have been challenged by. Coworker, family member, someone that you have a slight irritation with, even in this moment. Someone should have appeared for everyone at this point. Everybody got somebody?
Mm-hmm.
Feel the irritant between the two of you. And think of a kind statement to say to them. And breathe. Feel the peace from your heart to them. Let every agenda go. Feel the peace. And let them go now. Feel the energy of this place where you stand, the beautiful energy in your heart. And I want you to open your mind and feel and listen. Feel the statement you hear from God now to you. If it does not come in words literal, it will come in energy and perception. When you have it, say okay. If you do not understand what you're getting, perceive the kindness from God to you. Love, encouragement, and generosity without an agenda. Breathe it in. Just stand in the energy and send your gratitude to the universe. Thank you, God, that I can walk in a space of generous consciousness as I grow. Feel the brightness of your heart. Let your awareness come back to your chair. And Father, Mother God, we thank you for this attunement within. And we thank you that our words now can reflect that in the outer. And so it is. Take a breath. How'd you guys do? Inspired? Want to try something different? This year, we need to walk in love. Say Yeka.